What's up, wildlings? I'm back. I've been gone for like 2 weeks. One of my best friends from Florida moved to Texas. We're gonna start something on the side with him. I'm pretty excited about it. He's also helping Wild Foods. There's been a lot going on. We're talking with people, how to get them to the next level. There's just some cool stuff. And so I've been thinking about a lot why people don't get results, what keeps them held back. And I've been thinking about this for years because I've been an entrepreneur for about 13 years now. And I've always tried to encourage the people around me, friends and family specifically, on doing something on their own, doing something on the side, getting something started. And for the most part, most people haven't done anything. Or if they've done something, it's been at a snail's pace and they're still doing something and they don't really have something that could support them or that's full-time or anything like that. And I just always see so much opportunity lost, and it frustrates me, but it also gets me thinking about like, what can I offer these people? What advice, what feedback, whatever can I give them to really kick them in the ass to get them going? And it just, I'll yell and scream and curse and kick and I do all these things and I try to motivate where I can, but most people regress to the mean. And that's what today's video is about, regression to the mean, and what that means in general as a concept, and also what that means for you, what it means for me even, as I haven't recorded in a couple of weeks and things have come up. I basically regressed to my mean of not recording videos, and now I need to push through that to get back to recording videos on a regular basis. So let's get to it. So regression to the mean, a lot of things, I would say almost everything in nature tends to, while it is a place of chaos, but when you have something like, let's say, Earth and the stable systems, the semi-stable systems that you have of the food chain, of certain environments, things like that, like while there's always going to be outliers and extremes that change things, or black swans, as Taleb would say, most things still regress to the average. They regress to what happened in the past, or what the average thing that has happened in the past most of the time, what is statistically, as a result, more likely to happen in the future as well. And for the person, you, me, we all have a mean. We have an average that we tend to hover around. Some days, in times, periods of time, whatever, we go below that line. And some days we might go above, or some periods of time we might go above. But in general, whether it's up or down, we tend to get pulled back to this line. And this is our average. Now, everything that you've done in your life thus far is basically represented by this line. And ideally, you'd have a line that's kind of like this, right? And so you're going up the line just a bit. That would be something you're progressing. But even then, you still, while you're going up this line, you tend to kind of go up and down around. So it's more of like a squiggly, right? Because you're kind of going above your average and below your average on a regular basis. But you always pretty much end up on wherever that line is. And what's really, really bad and really dangerous for a lot of people is their line is actually this. And so they start up here or wherever they're at now, but they've been continually going like this, down. All right? Now, you see this, I see this all the time. In fact, I went to the card shop the other day to play Magic, and yes, I grew up playing Magic and video games, and I'm definitely a nerd in that respect. Love games, I love strategy, love using my mind, and so it's really made me a successful business. But I was there and I saw some people that I hadn't seen in probably 8 months, because I haven't really been in the card shop at all in this period of time. And they were 10 to 15 pounds more overweight. In fact, there was a girl specifically that I remember thinking, a couple years ago when I first moved to Austin, I was playing more Magic, that she was kind of actually out of place in the Magic community, because she was, she was cute, she was lean, she was fit. And you just don't see that a lot in Magic. And so, they call it, well, I won't go down the rabbit hole, but so I noticed her because of that. And I played against her a few times. She's a regular at the card shop. And literally every time I go back to the card shop, 6 or 8 months later, she's gained like another 3 to 5 pounds. And now she's actually overweight, and it's kind of scary. That is an example of a mean that is slanted downwards. And so, maybe she has times where she loses a little bit of weight. Maybe she has times she gains a little bit more. But in general, her slope, her mean is regressing downward. And I guess it is a good point to kind of think about which way your line is sloping. But really, what I want you to think about is, what is your mean? But here's the thing that I really want you to think about. Whatever you've done thus far in your life, whatever your average is, whatever that mean is, you statistically are more likely to continue doing that into your future. And the older you get, the closer you get to that mean, and the harder it is to break away from it. And this is why you see people that have midlife crises, or they have near-death experiences is a better example, where they break their pattern, they break their mean only because they've had something so traumatic or so petrifying to them that it changes them. It changes their mean, right? What I've been concerned with the past 10 years of my life is how can I get people to stop regressing to their average, stop regressing to their mean, or at least turn their mean up so that they're growing, even if it's at a slow pace, at least they're growing. How can I get people to do that without having to basically put them in a near-death, life or death situation? I still struggle with it. I don't really have the answer. This video is more about just like exploring this idea and thinking about it. And because I think thinking about it is kind of a first step in just finding those patterns in your life. And that would be the call to action for today's video. I want you to find the patterns in your life where you kind of go up and down with things while also recognizing that whatever you've done in the past is statistically likely to be the thing you're going to do in the future. Now, maybe that's enough to wake you up, scare you, motivate you, whatever. I don't know, but I think at least being aware of this concept and being aware of just the math behind it, like this is a mathematical truism. Based on statistics, every person is going to statistically keep getting what they've gotten because it's based on what they do, cause and effect, right? Even myself, I've had a lot of development and growth since I moved to Austin 4 years ago. And I've always been the type to kind of really grow and focus and think long term. And so I do have a pattern like this or a growth mean like this that's very slanted, but I still do this along that. Like for example, my diet is a perfect example because what I'll do is I've noticed that, let's say my diet is kind of like this, right? And this is like me and my average eating, but if you map out the peaks and the valleys, like the peak would be me eating my best, not eating out as much, not eating junk food. And then down here, this would be when I kind of slowly slip to eat, having more sugar, eating more dessert, eating out more. And then what happens is I get sick of doing that and I go right back up to the top again and I'm eating my best. And then slowly as life sets in, I start eating out, once a week, then twice a week, then 3 times a week. And then, or work comes through. And so I'm eating out more and I'm just not in the mood to cook or eat better or whatever. My willpower goes down or whatever. And then I go down and then I repeat the same process. And so even for me, if I were to really stop that regression in that up and down that I'm statistically likely to keep doing my whole life, I have to figure out what can I do to really pattern interrupt that. And I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I do know that probably the biggest thing that I was able to do, or I've ever been able to do, and the biggest thing that I see other people able to do is surround yourself with people that have the things you want to do, that have the habits, that have the mean you want to have. Because this is what happens. If you're here on your mean, right, this level of your life, and you start hanging out with people that are up here, they're going to literally pull you. They're literally like a magnet. It'll be slowly probably, but they're going to pull you to their level. At least closer to their level. You might not get to their level, but they're going to at least pull you and be like a gravitational force that pulls you away from your mean as much as possible. And here's the flip side of that. You're here, right? You want to be here. It's pretty much true of everyone. But then you have people in your life that are here. This is where it's dangerous because everyone down here pulls you gravitationally down to their level. And that's a topic for another day, but it really, really illustrates clearly the effect that people have in your life for better or for worse. And I would say the number one way to raise your mean or even slant it upward is to surround yourself with people that are going to get you there. They're going to pull you in their direction while also eliminating as many of the people and as much time as you spend with those people pulling you below. My name is Colin Stucker. I approve this message. I hope you got some value out of this. I know you got some value out of this, but I hope you take some action based on this. I hope you think about your life and think about changes you can make so that you can turn your mean up while also reducing the peaks and valleys, because that's what we really want to do. We want to increase our mean as much as possible while keeping it slanted to the right, to future, to growth as much as possible. Thanks for watching.